Okay, in this video we're going to talk about slope, and there's 4 different types of slope. There's positive, negative, undefined, and zero. So let's start there. The positive slope, looks exactly like what you would think, like sales are going up, costs are going up. It goes up in a positive direction. The undefined slope is straight up and down, a vertical line. Negative slope is like a ski slope, it's going downhill. And zero slope is straight line, a horizontal line. All of them are straight lines, but zero is a horizontal line. The two that kids have the most trouble memorizing are undefined and zero. So let's talk about some ways that you can memorize the difference between undefined and zero. If you were sled riding, let's say this is you, and you are sled riding on a flat, like no slope at all, you're not even moving, that would be zero fun. So zero fun sled riding on a zero slope, like flat ground. And undefined slope, let's say that this is a building and you're standing on top of the building and you're on the edge. It would be unbelievably scary because it would be straight down. There's nothing to catch you at all if you fell off. And so undefined is straight up and down, and zero is horizontal, flat ground. So hopefully that's enough to help you memorize. Most kids don't have a problem with the positive and negative because it looks exactly like what you would think. Real life examples of slope would of course be ski slopes and like pitches of your roof, like how steep is your roof. And some people have very almost flat roofs, and other people have very steep roofs. So, slope is the steepness of a line. And so in this video, I'm going to teach you how to find the slope when you're given a graph, and also how to find the slope when you're given 2 coordinate points. So let's go ahead and look at those. Usually, slope is denoted by the letter M. I don't know why. Maybe it's a Greek reason, Latin, I don't know. But slope in math typically is written as M. So the first, the slope formula you're going to use if you have been given 2 points. You're going to use these two if you've been given a graph. Notice the difference. If you have a positive slope, that means you're going to go up, so you're going to rise. If you have a negative slope, you're going to go down or fall. Other than that, they're the exact same formula, and they are the same formula. So positive is rising and negative is dropping or falling. So let's look at the example on the left here. There aren't any points, like no numbers on the coordinates, like the axes. There's no numbers here or here. So we're not going to be actually finding an answer. We're just looking at it to try to figure out what's happening here. Notice they give us 2 points. They give us this point and they give us this point. The way that slope works is pretend that you are driving and you have to stay on the street. They want to know, how would you get from point A to point B if you couldn't take this road? If you had to take an alternate route, well, you would have to go up and then over. So they always draw a triangle, and you use that triangle to find the slope. So if we're leaving point A and we're heading to point B, we would have to go up and then we would go over. In other words, we would have to rise and then run, which is what they use. Rise over run, which is what the formula says. Rise over run right here. That is what the formula is. So this is very typical. That's exactly what you're doing every time. You're figuring out how to get from point A to point B. You're going to rise and then you're going to run. Or you can run first and then rise, it doesn't matter. So let's look at the right hand side. There's actually numbers over here. So let's move it over. And the question is, how far, if I got to go from this point to this point, how am I going to get there? And like I said, I can't go this route. This route is out. So I have to go up and then over. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to count how far I have to go. It looks like every 2 blocks is 1. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So I rise 3. So let's write the formula. Rise over run. So I definitely have to go up 3. Let's find out how far I had to run. So from here, I go 1, 2, 3. I also run 3, and 3 over 3 is 1, so the slope of this one is 1. And that makes sense, because it's not very steep. It would have to, if it's a higher number, like 7, it's a very steep line. Fractions are gradual, they're like not very steep at all. I'll show you an example. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this picture here, but what I want you to notice is that the yellow down here on the bottom, this line right here, let me get a different color. There's so many different colors here. It's not very steep. 1/3 is not going to be a very steep line. But as we go up, it gets steeper and steeper and steeper. 1/2 is not very steep. 1 is not very steep. 2 is starting to get steeper. 4 is pretty steep. And you'll find that that's very true. The higher the number, 10 almost looks like a vertical line. But then we go to the other side, and the only thing that's different over here is that all of these are negative because they're going downhill. So they're the same slope, but now they're negative. So this was -4, -2, -1, -1/2, -1/3. Notice the thing that did not change was this flat line down here. It's always 0. A horizontal line on like flat ground, that's always going to be a 0 slope. So we're going to take notes on how to find slope when you're given 2 points. So let's just make up 2 points. So coordinate points, it doesn't matter what we pick. We could pick 3 and 5, and -1 and 6. Like I said, it does not matter at all. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at the points and remember which one's X and which one's Y. And the way you can remember that is it's always alphabetical order. So X comes first, and then Y. And then we got X over here, and then Y. But they can't both be X's and they can't both be Y's, so we're going to give them at least a little bit of a unique name so that we know which one's which. So we're going to call this X1 and Y1, and X2 and Y2. Nothing really changes except for the fact that we've given them a more unique name so that when we talk about them, we know which one we're looking at and which one we're talking about. So let's rewrite the formula. The formula said y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so we're just going to work that. Like, it really is subtraction. And you can use your calculator. You don't have to do this in your head. The first number we're looking for is y2. So that would be this one. So we put a 6 minus, and I'm going to put that in black because that does not change. It's always going to be minus no matter what. We're going to be subtracting these two numbers. And then we're looking for y1, which is right here. Okay, so we got 6 minus 5. So we already know the first part. It's a 1. Now we're going to do the x's. So we're looking for x2, which is -1. And we need an x1, which is 3. And if you put this in your calculator, if you put -1 minus 3, it'll give you -4. And that is our slope, -1/4. So I'm going to write it down here. The slope is -1/4. And don't forget, you can put that negative out front, you can put it with the 1, you can put it with the 4. It does not change anything. The slope is negative 1/4.